If you're arrested in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, here's everything you need to know. Hi, I'm Greg McCollum. I'm an attorney and the founder of the Complete Legal Defense Team here in South Carolina. Whenever somebody is arrested, it's never expected. Usually people are minding their own business. They might be in an argument with their wife. The neighbors maybe complained about something if you're staying in a hotel. So it's completely unexpected. And here's what happens. You get a knock on the door. And the police are knocking on the door, and you're not expecting it. So you don't have a plan. You don't know what to do. So you'll go to the door, and right then there's a decision you have to make. The police cannot usually just charge in your house or your apartment or your condo or your hotel room and arrest you out of your residence or your dwelling without a warrant. So one of the things they'll do is say, do you mind if you're stepping outside here and talking to us? Once you step outside, now you're out in public, and that changes everything. And the police do this intentionally. Now, the flip of that is they want to get in the house. So they say, is it okay if we come inside and talk to you? When you say yes, you basically just consented to a search of your hotel room or your house. Once you let the police in, that's consent, and that's the way it's going to read in the report. So once you come in, once you let the police into your house, they're looking for evidence because police are trained to investigate crimes and assess situations, ultimately to arrest and charge somebody for something. That's the mindset. They don't think when they get a call that they're going somewhere where nothing happened and nobody needs to be arrested. When you open the door, you're surprised. Now, some of the best answers here is counterintuitive, which is don't answer the door. If you don't answer the door, then the police have a serious problem because they can't kick down the door without justifying it. And so there are only certain situations where that's allowable. Human nature being what it is and police tactics being what they are, the way the police knock on the door is usually very violent. It's loud. They're pounding on the door as if they're going to knock it in. They're yelling, police, open up. So you think you're being commanded to do something. And so most people open the door. Now here's what's going to happen. Once the police ask you questions, and you're simply trying to answer the questions, but they are doing an investigation, and they're looking probably to arrest somebody for something. Now, this could have been anything. You could have been arguing with your spouse. Somebody could have seen something through the window of the hotel and thought it was suspicious. Somebody could have seen you outside and thought you did something suspicious before you went inside. Neighbors might have complained because you were being too loud. But as soon as the police come in, they're assessing the situation. So if they think that it's a domestic violence call, or if they think the minors are being given alcohol, or they think somebody said you had a gun, that's what they're looking for. So if they see a lamp turned over, if they see an open beer can, or they see a couple of bottles or a couple glasses of wine, or they see a gun, it's confirming everything they were thinking before they came in. So what happens? Ideally, and according to the Constitution, the police are not supposed to be able to just arrest you. There's a warrant requirement that the police cannot arrest you without a warrant. However, over time, the U.S. Supreme Court and the state Supreme Courts have pretty much just done away with that. Because the police can arrest you if they have probable cause you believe if they have probable cause that they believe you committed a felony, they can arrest you without a warrant. So what is probable cause? It's not a very high standard. There's just a basis for believing that you committed a felony. And a felony could be almost anything. The other thing is, if the police see you commit a misdemeanor in their presence, they can arrest you for that without a warrant. They see you commit a misdemeanor. The third thing, which is kind of the catch-all for everything, which was really developed out of DUI investigations, is a misdemeanor freshly committed, which is kind of this magic language that there were certain characteristics of it where they said, well, it was obvious it would just happen, so it's freshly committed, and this is the one that's abused the most. So the other thing to know is that chances are when the police are talking to you, everything you say, everything you do is being video and audio recorded, because police in most jurisdictions have these recording devices. They call them body cams or body cams. So you're being recorded. We hear all the time where people say, well, they didn't read me my rights. Well, when they're just standing there talking to you and you're answering questions, that's preliminary. That's not an interrogation. And whatever you say on there will be used against you in court, even though you weren't giving any Miranda warnings. And that's typically the way that's going to play out. The police have to give you the Miranda warnings and tell you have a right to a lawyer and a right to remain silent and all those things when you're handcuffed. So once you're handcuffed, then the police routinely will read you your rights. At that point, anything you say can and will be used against you in court. Now, what happens then you're handcuffed? Well, usually you're taken down and put in the back of a patrol car, and you sit there. And you sit there for some period of time. And many times in the patrol car, there's also a camera pointed right at you in the back seat there. You're sitting there, you're handcuffed, and the police will leave you there, and anything you say to yourself, any thoughts you have out loud, they're not questioning you. You've been read your rights, so anything you say or do, they're going to use against you. And then at that point, if you're in Myrtle Beach, there's a jail in Myrtle Beach, and it's not too far from any part of the city, so it's a 10-minute ride to the jail. If you're arrested in just outside the city of Myrtle Beach, the jail is a 35-minute car ride out in the middle of nowhere to the jail called J. Reuben Long Detention Center. So you're going to one of those two. Now, there's also a jail in North Myrtle Beach. There's a jail in Surfside, though they don't use it. So you're basically going to Myrtle Beach, North Myrtle Beach, or the county jail, which is called J. Reuben Long. Once you get to the jail, really nothing happens. You're just parked somewhere. If you go to the county jail, they're going to strip you, take your clothes off of you, examine you, okay, put you in a jail suit, and then take a picture of you, fingerprint you, and book you, and then park you somewhere before they put you in a cell. If you go into Myrtle Beach or North Myrtle Beach, they're going to not necessarily strip you. They're going to leave you in your regular street clothes, so they're going to take everything you have from you, all medications, your wallet, your driver's license, your purse, if you have earrings, a watch, phone, they're taking all of that from you and putting it in your property. So now there you are, and the people that you know who are wondering where you are, if they don't know what happened, there's really no way for them to know where you are. You'll be given access to a phone at some point, but if you don't know the telephone number, there's going to be a problem because you're not going to have your phone. So what happens then, you're going to spend the night in a cell where you have basically a bed that's made out of a piece of like steel or sheet metal with some little thin mattress on it with one blanket. Maybe you have a pillow, maybe you don't. You probably don't. And then you're going to sit in there freezing until in the morning. Then they're going to line you up for this perp walk where they're going to line you up. If you're in the county jail, they're going to line you up, give you instructions, march you down the hall. You're all going to go in a courtroom. A judge is going to come in. Someone's going to say what you're charged with. They're really not going to ask you any questions. The judge may ask you a couple of things, but generally not. They're usually going to tell you don't say anything. And then the judge is going to spit out some bond amount, and that's it. Then they take you, sit you down, you sign some forms, and you've had a bond hearing. A bond was either set or denied, and you got certain conditions, but you're really in a state of confusion. If you're in the city of Myrtle Beach, you're not even going to go in front of the judge. They're going to put you in front of a video camera, and you're going to sit in there and stand there, and you'll see the judge, and the judge will see you. If your family's there, you're not going to see them in the courtroom. If your lawyer's there, you can hear your lawyer talking, but you cannot see your lawyer. In North Myrtle Beach, generally what they're going to do is the judge is literally going to go downstairs to the jail and sit across the table from you and set your bond there without you ever even going in the courtroom. Once your bond is set, you have to post it, which means you have to put up some money or somebody has to post it for you, and then you get out. If you're charged with a felony, you're going to be given some papers that are very confusing. You're going to have some so-called court dates. You're going to have a request for preliminary hearing, and then you're going to be released. Now, many times when people get out of jail and they're given their property back, many times their phone is dead. They have no charger, so that's an issue. If a car was involved, the car is towed. You don't know where it is. You have to try to figure out where it is, try to figure out how to get to it. After that, you're going to have a couple of court dates. Now, the other thing that happens in South Carolina, which is crazy, so if you're arrested in Myrtle Beach and you're charged with, let's say you had an open container of beer somewhere where you weren't supposed to have it, but you're also charged with having a gun and maybe brandishing a weapon. When you get out, you got one court date in the city of Myrtle Beach that's usually written on a blue traffic ticket. Then you have these other court papers for the felony charges. So you literally have to go to two so-called court dates in two different cities on different dates. And so it's very easy to miss one because once you get the papers and you look at your court dates, you don't know to look at every single paper to see what other court dates you have. So just disregarding the possibility that you have a summary court charge on a traffic ticket at a different date and time, what do your court dates look like? Well, you have 10 days to request a preliminary hearing. That's simply filling out a form. At the Complete Legal Defense Team, we do that for you, simple, easy. The other court date is called a first appearance or initial appearance, and it seems like something's going to happen there, but really it isn't. It's really not court. It's just a show-up date, and you go there, and basically they want to know if you have a lawyer, and then they tell you to come back in basically 6 weeks. In 6 weeks, you come back. You're still not in court. You're still in a courthouse with people with no judge, and they're either trying to get you to plead guilty to something or explaining to you that they're not ready to give you a plea offer, and so they're going to notify you when you have to come back to court. And that's it in terms of the organized structure of court. So how do you navigate that? What do you do? It can be pretty hard to even figure out your court dates without a lawyer. And so if you can't afford a lawyer and you go to the public defender's office, they do a pretty good job of trying to keep you informed, but it's very difficult because they represent thousands and thousands of people. If you hire a lawyer, then you're much better off because your lawyer is going to be taking better care of you to make sure that you know where to go, when to go there, and whether or not you can be excused. Many times for people in Myrtle Beach that get arrested and charged with different things, they live somewhere else. They were here on vacation. They might have been here for business. So this is a real issue because coming back here 3 or 4 times can be very difficult. It's time consuming. People have to get off work. They have to travel here. They have to get a plane ticket or drive here and stay in a hotel. So having a lawyer helps a lot with that. Once you get in the process, what happens? Your lawyer gets the discovery on the case by filing a motion. The evidence is provided to your lawyer. We get that evidence and we go over it with you and show you what your options are, figure out what kind of case they have against you and whether or not they're willing to move forward with it. Prior to that, once you retain us, we also do our investigation, which means we talk to you and find out who you are, find out every good thing about you, because there's nothing good written about you in the police report. It's all negative. Everything is skewed to make you look like a criminal. So we sit down with you and get all the information about all the good you've done and everything about you and your family and your reputation. We also find out what you say actually happened, so we have an explanation for that. Then we compare that to the evidence that the state gives us and work out, hopefully, a dismissal, because a lot of cases get dismissed if they're handled appropriately. If the case is not dismissed, then you're looking at a decision of whether to plead to something or to go to trial. Most cases don't go to trial. Most of the cases that we handle don't go to trial. And there's several reasons for that. And one of the reasons is that most of the people we represent are really not trial worthy because they're not criminals. Most of the people we represent have never been arrested before. They're good people. They contribute to society. And so usually in those circumstances, we're able to get a pretty good result. And good result for us means no jail time, no felony conviction, hopefully not even a misdemeanor conviction. And that's what you're looking at. Now, when this happens, it's completely unexpected. You don't know what to do. The most important thing is to reach out and find appropriate representation. At the Complete Legal Defense Team, we provide a legal team for you, literally a legal team. We have a team of experienced lawyers and experienced paralegals and legal assistants here to help you. If you need help, contact us at Complete Legal Defense Team here in South Carolina.